Right, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, it's here, baby. I'm here. We're all here. I hope and pray that everybody's having a safe, blessed, joyous, and wonderful day. Whether you're live, baby, live with me, or whether you're watching this later, I hope that you get some joy out of it. I hope you get some information that you could put in that little wonderful thing called your brain, baby. It can wiggle around, jiggle around. It could shoot around like a bullet, if you will. But you know what? Ultimately, I hope that everybody's having a great life. I hope everybody's having nothing but peace, joy, and happiness within their life. And you know what, guys, like I did on my Inspired show last Friday, I was talking about how I'm going to step back a little bit when it comes to the Retro Wrestling Revival. I'm going to focus on myself a little bit more. And, you know, I'm not going to be nearly as involved for like the next few months while I focus on self-help, I guess, self-care. But you know what? I also said that I'm not going to go completely cold turkey and not do content. So I had this idea that I wanted to do, and it's called the Top-5, the Retro Wrestling Revival, the Top-5. So with that, basically what like my format is going to be is that I'm going to pick 5 newsworthy stories out of the news cycle within like the world of professional wrestling for the week. So I hope that you guys can get something out of it. I hope you can be entertained, and ultimately, I hope that this can inform you, if you will. I don't consider myself a a wrestling expert by any stretch of the imagination. You guys know, like with the Retro Wrestling Revival, this is for fans by fans, and like we can speculate, we can give our opinions, but ultimately we're not experts. So like we can give our opinions, we can source websites, and we can hope the information that we're given is correct. But ultimately, it is all out of our love and our passion for professional wrestling, guys. And like with that said, I just want to say this right now. When it comes like to professional wrestling, I just want to know, guys, whether like you're watching this live or watching this later, let me know down in the comments, or write it on our page here on Facebook. Let us know what made you a fan. Why do you love wrestling so much? What drives your passion for professional wrestling? Because I know for me, I'm a little bit of backstory here, ladies and gentlemen. I'm about to build a foundation to build up. So basically for me, wrestling is one of like my main things like within my life that I can honestly say that I can always go to no matter what, whether I'm dealing with depression, whether I'm dealing like with tough times. Something that brings me peace and joy, and something that helps me escape reality, at least for like a few hours a week, so I can just focus on something that just makes me happy. And ultimately for me, wrestling has always been there. I've been, which I've said this a few times, I became a diehard fan back in 1997. The main storyline for me, and I know it's tacky and weird and silly, but like the main storyline for me, like that got me hooked, so to speak, it was the storyline between Bret Hart and the Patriot. So right around August to September of 1997, that's whenever I became a diehard fan, and I've been a fan ever since. I have to say, almost 30 years. I've been a diehard fan of professional wrestling. I firmly believe when it comes to these athletes, these men and women, there are no athletes in the world that even come close to what these men and women can do. Because this is the thing, guys, like with professional wrestling, is that not only do you get a essentially like a soap opera, you get Shakespeare, like you get good versus evil, but you get a you get Circus du Soleil, you get a rock show. I mean, you get you get cinema. I mean, you get all forms of entertainment wrapped up into one, and like there's no other form of entertainment that is as diverse and as eclectic as professional wrestling. So the beautiful part about it is I know for me that being a fan, that I've met some of like my best friends in this world through my love of professional wrestling. So ultimately, me and John, whenever it comes to the Retro Wrestling Revival, our goal is to not only share our passion for professional wrestling and to inspire others, but like But our main goal is to build a community of people through wrestling where we can come together, we can build bridges, we can create relationships, and we can build bonds. So ultimately, that's one of the main goals here at the Retro Wrestling Revival. And like with that said, guys, I just want to say that it's amazing. I'm blown away with the success, me, John, and Richie, that we've been having lately, like with the Retro Wrestling Revival. We are blown away by it. We are on the road to 10,000 followers. Right now, we are at, I believe, 7,200. The goal was 10,000 by the end of the year. You guys are blowing away our expectations. And I just want to say thank you so much. I'm speaking for John. Thank you so much. I'm speaking for Richie. Thank you so much. And also, speaking of that, guys, whenever it comes to like the radio show, now we have extended to multiple markets. And that's all due to every single one of you. And the thing is that there's going to be weeks that you're not going to hear me on there, but that doesn't mean that I'm not a part of the group, if you will. That doesn't mean that I'm not a part of the gang. That means that I'm still supportive, ladies and gentlemen. But right now, I'm stepping back a little bit more than what I normally would. So, with that said, guys, I just want to say from the bottom of my heart, thank you so much for your love. Thank you so much for your support. And let's get started on the top 5 here at the Retro Wrestling Revival. And the number one story is Paul Heyman, ladies and gentlemen. He just got announced for the WWE Hall of Fame class of 2024. Coming up for WrestleMania 40. The night before, normally they have the ceremony, and recently, from last year to this year, they've been kind of late on making the announcements whenever it comes to like the Hall of Fame class. But Paul Heyman being the centerpiece of this year, it's absolutely perfect. The fact is that it's based with WrestleMania being based out of Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, which is the heart of Extreme Championship Wrestling. I mean, it is the perfect place to do it. And for the people that don't seem to realize it, there's very few people that have had the impact on professional wrestling that Paul Heyman has. And the thing is that you can look at Extreme Championship Wrestling, dare I say, like if it wasn't for the influence and the way he ran that, you would not have had many of the things that you have today. And I know some people don't like me saying this, but if it wasn't for ECW, you wouldn't have the Attitude Era. If it wasn't for the Attitude Era, dare I say, you wouldn't have had the Monday Night Wars like you did. I mean, and just think about it. If the WWE didn't have the Attitude Era, would they still be in business right now? Would WCW still be? Would the WCW, they've gone out of business? I mean, like there's so many things that Paul Heyman he factors in. Okay, when it comes to like the careers of Brock Lesnar, CM Punk, Stone Cold Steve Austin, Arn Anderson, Alundra Blaze, I can go on and on and on, ladies and gentlemen. Bubba Ray Dudley, which I was just listening to. I'm drawing a blank, guys, here, but I was listening to Busted Open Radio earlier, and Bubba Ray Dudley like was talking about the massive impact that Paul Heyman has had on his career. I mean, and the thing about it, without Paul Heyman, would we have had the Dudley Boys? In my opinion, one of the greatest tag teams of all time. I mean, the impact that Rob Van Dam's had. I mean, Tommy Dreamer, Taz, Shane Douglas. I can go on and on, guys, with the impact that Paul Heyman has had on the professional wrestling business. And not just when it comes to his on-screen characters, but when it comes to booking, when it comes to storyline writing. A lot of people don't know this, but post-draft, back in 2002, once WCW and ECW, they were gone. And WWE really had no competition. And they split it up. They had the brand split between Raw and SmackDown. Paul Heyman was the main writer for SmackDown. And you saw the quality, the product that they put out. And in my opinion, that was some of the best, one of the best periods in the history of the business, as in terms of storytelling and quality. And people caught, and you got people like that talk about like the SmackDown 6. I mean, you got Kurt Angle, Rey Mysterio, Edge, Eddie Guerrero, Chris Benoit, and like a couple others. And what they did, I'm just saying, guys, there were so many things that you can give Paul Heyman credit for. One of like my favorite early memories for him, of course, is the Dangerous Alliance. And Paul Heyman like would walk around, and this is whenever he worked for World Championship Wrestling, and he would walk around with like that giant freaking brick cell phone. I mean, like just so cool. And just the art of managing, the art of running a business, the art of storytelling. Dare I say, with the exception of Bobby Heenan, there is no greater mind in the history of the business overall better than Paul Heyman. And that's me saying a lot, guys. But with that said, guys, just starting off with like the number one story tonight, this morning, today, whenever you're watching, if you will, Paul Heyman 2024 class for the WWE Hall of Fame. Well deserved, in my opinion, long overdue. But from what I heard, Paul turned it down various times. So, I mean, thankfully, Paul has decided to accept. And the thing is that that's get you thinking. That's got you thinking, get you thinking. With it being in Philadelphia, with Paul Heyman being being like the head of the class, like the main one, and like his roots to Extreme Championship Wrestling, will the Hall of Fame ceremony be themed after ECW? I'm just saying, guys. I don't know. I mean, I would, and if they were to do that, who would you bring in for like the Hall of Fame? Like for me, I would definitely say, I would have to say first and foremost, I know this is not a popular opinion. I would have to say someone like Shane Douglas. I think that he would be a great introduction into the Hall of Fame, a great inclusion. You bring in, well, heck, like the Dudleys, like they're Hall of Famers. Rob Van Dam's a Hall of Famer. Tommy Dreamer, Hall of Famer right there. I'm trying to think of some other guys yet. Taz, but Taz is working for AEW. I mean, it's tough. It really, really is. But if they're going to do it like with the ECW team, it would be awesome to hear who else that they would put in. The Sandman, perhaps. I don't know. I mean, who do you guys think would be deserving within the Hall of Fame if they were from the ECW era? I would love to hear your opinion. And I know for me, like for like the Hall of Fame this year, I hope Lex Luger gets in. I hope Sid Vicious gets in. And ultimately, I think those two right there are extremely deserving, overly deserving, and it's long overdue, ladies and gentlemen, especially Lex. So, come on, man, pull the trigger. And someone that would be awesome, Ken Shamrock. I think Ken Shamrock would be like a great inclusion within the Hall of Fame. The impact that he's had on the business, the guy, especially like with being such a crossover star. I mean, yes, he did start out being a wrestler, but then he went to the UFC. And then essentially he helped bust the door wide open for many, many other people like the crossover. And I think Shamrock should be recognized for that. I mean, yes, he's in the TNA Wrestling Hall of Fame, and that's all nice and good and well, but I think he should be recognized too in the WWE Hall of Fame. But once again, ladies and gentlemen, congratulations to Mr. Paul Heyman for being the first announced inductee into the WWE Hall of Fame class of 2024. So, guys, that is the top story right now, a number one story, if you would like to start off with. So like that's the top one. Like the top two right now, like we're doing the number two right now, is this past weekend at AEW Revolution, ladies and gentlemen, we had an end of an era. We had the icon, the legend Sting. He retired. His last match in an AEW ring, it was Darby Allin and Sting versus the Young Bucks, and which I gotta say, guys, the match was outstanding, a phenomenal way to send Sting out on top. I believe AEW, they've done nothing but show Sting's legacy the utmost respect that it deserves. And you know what? I think they did a great job. Kudos to Tony Khan. I do have my issues with Tony. So does John. But the thing is that Tony, whenever it comes to showing respect to icons and legends, Tony surely knows how to do that, and he surely knows how to treat them right. And the thing is that it's almost like a part of like my childhood died. Honestly, that Sting, he's gone, he's retired. Now I can fantasy book and like I could say this, and I would hopefully maybe it might happen. I don't know. I doubt it. But how cool would it be? Just saying. I mean, never say never, but like the likelihood is it's very unlikely. Sting maybe make a special appearance at WrestleMania. Just saying, guys, that would be absolutely awesome. But I doubt it's going to happen. Honestly, congratulations to Sting. The family here at the Retro Wrestling Revival want to say we are massive fans. We have nothing but the utmost love and respect for your legacy. You are one of the all-time icons. You are one of the greatest of all time. You were the heart and soul of World Championship Wrestling. You were a big reason why that TNA Wrestling went on the run that they went on, and for a good period of time, they were the number 2 company in the world. And Sting, every single place that you've gone, you've made a massive impact on when they've booked you correctly. And like the only stain, if you will, on the resume of Sting, I could say, is his run in the WWE. I feel like his run in the WWE, it was completely, with the exception of his debut, it was god awful. I feel like they completely dropped the ball with him, and my understanding is that Vince McMahon was not a fan of people that were his competition. He had a very difficult time putting that to the side and working with people and saying, hey, yes, you did work for my competition, but you got a big name and you can do good for my company. And also from what I heard with Vince McMahon, that unless it is his creation, he's not going to be willing to push you. And there's very few people I can think of that weren't his creation that he did push. And I would have to say AJ Styles, right? Like the top 3 that pop in my head. AJ Styles, Rey Mysterio. I would say AJ Styles, Rey Mysterio, and Booker T. Yeah, I would just say AJ Styles, Rey Mysterio, and Booker T, because those 3 were all original. And they came from different places. And Vince McMahon, respecting their legacy, respecting their contributions, booked them very, very well throughout their runs. So, I mean, like for Sting, I am just, it's bittersweet. I definitely hope and pray that Sting has an awesome retirement full of peace, joy, love, and happiness. I hope he can have so much time with his family, and that he can enjoy it, he can soak it in, and ultimately he can realize he deserves it. And there's very few people that deserve it more than Sting. So Sting, kudos to you, brother. Congratulations. And Tony Khan, from what my understanding was, he said that it was over $1 million gate. So for like the Revolution show, which is really good. Like a lot of that's got to do with Sting's retirement. And like from my understanding, it was a sellout. So like that's awesome. I wish they could carry that momentum with them, but unfortunately, once again, it's got to do with the star power of Sting, the retirement, and that's why like they drew like a big house. And also from my understanding, because Sting was the AEW Tag Team Champions with Darby Allin, Darby will be forfeiting the championships. So, soon we will be having new AEW Tag Team Champions. Whether they do like a tournament, I don't know. It Make sure like to tune in to AEW Dynamite, which is tonight actually. It's gonna be awesome to see where they go like with the tag team championships. Do you guys think with the Young Bucks? I mean, they were competing for like the AEW Tag Team Championships. Do you think that they would go after the tag titles again, or do you think they're going to continue like to play up like the snooty EVP gimmick and think to themselves, well, we got bigger fish to fry? I don't know, guys, but it's a bittersweet. I'm happy for Sting. The family here at the Retro Wrestling Revival. We want to say once again, Sting, congratulations. You definitely deserve it. And for the third story, ladies and gentlemen, like the top three, baby, like we're doing number 3 right now. One of my all-time favorite wrestlers and the favorite wrestler of many, many people, the hardcore legend Mick Foley. He has recently announced that he wants to have one final match on his sixth. I believe it is. It is. On his 60th birthday, he's wanting to have a death match. And the thing is that the reasons that you would think aren't the exact reasons that he has. So let me read this off to you, ladies and gentlemen. This is from tjrwrestling.net. And let me read this out for you. Mick Foley has revealed his reasons for wanting one last brutal in-ring bout deathmatch. The WWE Hall of Fame class of 2013 inductee was renowned for his high-impact, risk-taking style during a 14-year full-time in-ring career that drew to a close age of just 34 after injuries had taken their toll on the Long Island native. Foley made sporadic appearances thereafter, including headlining WrestleMania just weeks after his emotional farewell at No Way Out 2000, but has not competed in a WWE ring since an appearance at the 2012 Royal Rumble. Having not laced up the boots for over 12 years, it came to a surprise that many recently when Foley announced his desire for one final bout on his 60th birthday in June 2025. During a recent chat with Casey Hopkins, the former WWE champion revealed that his desire for one last showdown is driven partly by his motivation to lose weight. Everybody's got their motivations, ladies and gentlemen. This is Mick Foley quotes. One day when I was really struggling, I realized that what used to be the best motivation for me was another match. I always got in shape with the goal of having another match. Fast forward, my wrestling days are over. I've spent with 2 small occasions since 1999, well over 300 pounds. I got down on 3 different occasions below 300. And then as I saw my weight really get away from me, I thought maybe I need that same kind of motivation. And along the way, I can appreciate the lifestyle changes, eating differences, and exercise. There is no reason for somebody at my age and weight to be exercising for 3 straight years. It's embarrassing. It's embarrassing when you're asking in the airport if you need a wheelchair. It's embarrassing to be the guy who is bigger than the chair on the airline. Mick Foley is searching for inner peace after the bout. After a final bout, Foley admitted that the irony of wanting to participate in a death match to elongate his life was not lost on him, but his determination to be an active grandfather in the future was a key factor in his decision to return to the ring, ladies and gentlemen. It's something of a paradox that by competing in a death match, I will have a better life. That day or night is going to be tough. It's going to be tough, but the lessons I've learned leading up to that match are lessons I intend to carry forward for the rest of my life. To me, it's the difference between being a grandfather someday or I can crawl on the ground and play with their crawl on the ground and play with my grandchildren, or a grandfather who sits and watches from the sidelines. I don't want to be that guy sitting on the sidelines. When questioned what he hoped to achieve from a potential 60th birthday bout, Foley opened up about his desire for inner peace by ending his career on his own terms. I'm just looking for catharsis. In Japan, the fans are described as being oddly peaceful when they would leave because they had seen something when it's done right. It can be a work of abstract art. I'm hoping when it's done, there will be a sense of peace among the fans and a sense of inner peace for myself. Even as my wounds stick to the sheets that night for a few nights, I'm pretty sure I'm going to come out of that situation in worse shape than I was, but I believe I will pick up habits that are going to lead to a better life. Long, better life. How crazy is that, guys? So it's kind of like the whole saying, it's going to get better. Oh, hold on. It's going to get worse before it gets better. And you know what? If it means that he's going to train and bust his ass to get in shape so he can do that match, so he can carry those habits forward, more power to you, Mick Foley. And you bet your ass that wherever you're going to have it, if it's on pay-per-view or it's on YouTube or whatever, yours truly, the man with the stutter that's smooth as butter, I'm going to be paying for that, and which I'm going to be watching Mick's last match, because you know what? Mick is a hardcore legend. Mick is a huge inspiration to me. Mick is one of the, you know what? Mick is the nicest wrestler I've ever met. And from what many people say, he is the nicest wrestler in the world. Like, for me, I would say, really quick side note, guys. Mick Foley, Mark Marrow, and Karrion Kross. And Eddie Guerrero. 4 nicest wrestlers I've ever met or spoken to. So, with that said, Mick, the family here at the Retro Wrestling Revival, we hope that you can reach that goal. You can get in shape. You can bust your ass, have an amazing retirement match, and you can carry those habits forward that can not only make your life better, but help the lives of your family. Not only through like your life experiences, through your wisdom, through your peace, love, and kindness, but ultimately it can extend your life, man. So like, definitely, we hope you can do it, man. We hope hope that you can do it. And with that said, guys, we are about to do story number 4, like the top 4, ladies and gentlemen, if you will. And this is going from extending life to extinguishing life, which is unfortunate. And let me pull up the story, ladies and gentlemen, real quick. And this is from entertainmentweekly.com. Okay, so former WWE wrestler Billy Jack Haynes is charged with second-degree murder in connection with wife's death. She was found dead in their Oregon home in February. It's just a shame, guys, because we don't know the circumstances that led to his decision making. And the thing is that we talk about CTE. We talk about so many health issues that these wrestlers have after years of being on the road, taking these bumps, and long term the effects that they have. I know, especially like a Chris Benoit, whenever like they tested his brain after he died, he essentially had the brain of an 80-year-old Alzheimer's patient, because of all of like the head trauma. And like through all that, it leads to impulsive, irrational thinking and poor cognitive decisions that lead to things such as this. I'm not saying that this is what led it to it, but ultimately, I mean, like with it being a wrestler, essentially an athlete, we can speculate. All right, guys, here we go. Former pro wrestler Billy Jack Haynes has been charged with second-degree murder for shooting his wife, Jeanette Beecraft. The 70-year-old ex-WWE star, whose full name is William Albert Haynes Jr., has been booked into the Multnomah, bear with me, guys, Multnomah County Detention Center on charges of murder in the second degree and unlawful use of a weapon after his wife was found dead in their home. The Portland Police Bureau said in a new release on Wednesday. Officers responded to reports of gunfire at the couple's Oregon home on February 8th. The police engaged in a tense standoff with Haynes, thinking he was still armed, which led officers to set up a perimeter around the residence and issue a shelter-in-place order to Haynes' neighbors. When they gained entry to the house, authorities discovered the body of Haynes' 85-year-old wife, who a medical examiner determined died of homicide by gunshot wounds. The ex-wrestler was transferred to a local hospital where he was treated for a medical condition unrelated to the homicide or his contact with law enforcement, according to the police. Speaking to local Fox affiliate KPTV, one of Haynes' neighbors said that he was recently hospitalized for broken ribs after suffering a fall. They also noted that Beecraft had been suffering from dementia before her death. Haynes rose to prominence in the world of professional wrestling in the 1980s, competing for the World Wrestling Federation, later renamed WWE, for 2 years before retiring in 1996. He wrestled under the name Billy Jack Haynes and notably faced off against the likes of Hercules Hernandez, Ric Flair, and Randy Savage. He was one of several former pro wrestlers who sued the WWE. He was alleging extreme mistreatment and claiming that it had not sufficiently protected its athletes from head injuries that caused serious brain damage. The class action lawsuit was dismissed in 2019. So that goes back to what I was saying, ladies and gentlemen. You talk about the risk that risk that these men and women take, and what they do on like a weekly basis. And the thing is that, I mean, essentially, I mean, you go up, you go down, you get slammed, you get dropped on your head. I mean, honestly, like your brain, it gets smacked around. And unfortunately, there's individuals that are more susceptible to brain damage. And the thing is that it's a shame. Billy Jack Haynes' wife, I definitely, we send like our thoughts and prayers out to her family, because ultimately that's not a way like to lose somebody. I mean, and it's just, it sucks. It's scary, and that's one of my worst fears, honestly, is losing a family member to murder. And whenever you have an individual that does have time left, and they still do have things to offer, and it gets snatched away like that, it just really, really hurts. It just really breaks your heart. And like ultimately, regardless, I hope Billy Jack, he gets a mental evaluation to determine what the hell is going on with him. And if he is mentally competent and he is able to stand trial, I believe he should be going to, which I believe that he should go to jail for the rest of his life, period. There's no excuse. And it's kind of like with Chris Benoit. Was I a fan of his in-ring work? Yes, but I'm not making excuses for what he did. The fact is that his choices when it came to his career that he chose led to long-term brain trauma that led to that horrible night that occurred. And the thing is that it just breaks my heart, because just these guys, they're at just the I mean, we appreciate and we value the men and women that sacrifice on like a weekly basis, daily basis, to entertain us, but like we don't quite really grasp the extent to how much of a risk these men and women take. So guys, I'm just saying, like right now, just let that story soak in. and realize that just some people they make poor decisions, and it leads to horrible things occurring. And like ultimately, I hope that there's something that can be learned from this. And if it's a brain issue due to long-term CTE because of him being in the ring, I hope this could be used as a cautionary tale, and maybe wrestling companies, they could figure out a slightly better way to help with protecting the performers, because ultimately that can help them with the families being protected. So, guys, once again, I feel bad for Billy Jack's wife, her family, with their loss. Once again, definitely our prayers go out to her. And Billy Jack, once again, if you are mentally able to stand trial, I hope you get a jail for the rest of your life. Just saying. Anyways, guys. All right. And my last story I'm going to do, I am going to talk about, which I was going to talk about Sammy, which I was going to speak about Mr. Darby Allin and the glass spot at the Revolution pay-per-view. But you know what? Yeah, I don't think that they deserve that really deserves attention. But what I'm going to do for like my last story for this week is I'm going to talk about Sammy Guevara, and this is from NoDQ.com. Sammy Guevara reportedly suspended from AEW following a match against Jeff Hardy. As seen during the February 16, 2024 edition of AEW Rampage, Jeff Hardy suffered a broken nose from Sammy Guevara. According to the report from Fightful Select, Guevara is currently suspended from AEW. Fightful noted the following. Fightful Select has learned that All Elite Wrestling mainstay Sammy Guevara is now serving a suspension in connection to the February 14th match he had against Jeff Hardy. During the match, Jeff Hardy sustained an injury in a injury, and the concussion protocol was not followed, which resulted in Sammy hitting his finisher on Hardy, which we were told should not have happened. It was added that the timetable for the suspension is unknown. Matt Hardy recently he provided an update for Jeff's condition, and Jeff he's been having a roundabout with everything. I just hope that Jeff is able to get like it. I mean, he's clearly doing a better job like with getting like his life back on track. I just hope that he could have like a decent last couple years in the business and have like a good finishing up run. It doesn't look like that's happening though. Here we go. Matt Hardy said, obviously Jeff's nose, as I said, it was broken, had a couple little breaks in it. He's getting some tests done with the sinuses to see how his sinuses are doing. It's not a fast project. These things move slow, but we're just trying to make sure his health is first and foremost and putting that above everything else. So that's the main thing. There's no word when Jeff Hardy will return to the ring. So guys, like with that said, once again, there's a lot of things that I can say that are positive for AEW. I feel like they have a phenomenal talent roster. I feel like they have, they mean well, like with a lot of things. I think Tony is a fan. He respects the business. He respects the athletes in it. But I feel like there's certain things to where Tony is essentially, he doesn't really see the bigger picture. And I noticed, especially like the Sammy Guevara and the Hardys, it's kind of like he's snake bitten with them. Okay. Which I know, like a few years ago, it was Jeff Hardy. It was Matt Hardy and it was Sammy Guevara, and Matt got a concussion in the middle of the match. His head bounced off like the freaking concrete. He went through like a table, smacked his head off concrete with the match with Sammy. And they continued the match. That was completely freaking Tony Khan's fault. He should have stopped the match. But Tony claimed that like within that short period of time that they did the concussion protocol. I call bullshit on that. And there's been injuries here and there throughout the entirety of the existence of AEW where it's been like, okay, Tony, what the hell is going on, man? Why are you letting these people continue to fight? And this is just another shining example of that. And it's kind of like, okay, so if you knew that the finish was not supposed to occur, and you knew Jeff was hurt to begin with, then Tony, that's your responsibility to say, hey guys, stop the match. Tell the ref in their earpiece, hey guys, like the match is done. Do like a quick schoolboy roll up or something, like to finish it, because ultimately blaming these wrestlers because you're not, because like you're letting them get by with certain things, over and over and over, and now it's starting to add up, and people are starting to notice it more. It's just kind of like, Tony, if you would have done it from the beginning, it wouldn't be so bad as it is right now. And the fact is that Sammy Guevara is the male version of Nia Jax, unfortunately. And yes, I am calling out my sugar baby, Nia. Ooh, my thick honey bun, Nia. I know she's gonna be mad at me, but it's okay. The fact is that Sammy Guevara, he's kind of like the Nia Jax of male wrestlers in AEW, where he seemingly gets people hurt left and right. And the thing is that Sammy, maybe you need to reevaluate the way you do things and slow the fuck down. And the thing is that I'm gonna say this right now. And I know some people don't like me saying this, but this is the God honest truth. 5-star matches don't make money. Stories make money. Characters make money. And just because you're doing 48,000 moves within a match doesn't mean that you're telling a good story. And individuals like Sammy Guevara, they have the potential to be phenomenal storytellers, but unfortunately, they're so worried about getting their shit over that it gets lost in translation. So doing these flip-flop and ply bullshit moves over and over and over is not only not getting you over, but it's potentially putting other wrestlers in danger to get hurt. And your number one job out there is to protect your opponent. So that's why I respect wrestlers like MJF, The Miz, LA Knight. I can go on and on. Dustin Rhodes, Cody. I mean, is that they're more focused on slowing down and making each move mean something within the story of the match. Not what's the most spectacular thing that I can do to get people to go ooh and ah for 5 seconds before they forget. You want to have those memorable moments and have people on their feet because of the raw emotion that you make them feel. And very few wrestlers are experts at that. Because like I said, guys, it's modern wrestling for the most part is not as focused on the story and the character aspect. It's more focused on the in-ring match aspect. And ultimately, for me, if I don't care about the characters in the story that they're trying to tell before they get into the ring, why should I care about what they're going to do inside the ring? And that's just me, ladies and gentlemen. So, like, I'm just saying, like with Sammy Guevara, he's like the Nia Jax of AEW for male wrestlers. He needs to slow down. He needs to evaluate what he's doing, and he needs to realize, wait a minute, if I've done this various times, if I've done this many times already, maybe it's not other people, maybe it's me, and maybe I need to slow down. But also, once again, Tony, if you know that individuals like Sammy are a danger in the ring, then you don't need to put them in the ring. So I'm just saying, guys, Tony, good job on suspending Sammy. Good job on putting your foot down. And ultimately, once again, guys, I'm speaking from a fan perspective. Remember, guys, for fans, by fans. I just hope this could be the beginning of something that could set an example for others that they need to be more careful in the ring. So just saying, guys, those are my top 5 stories for the day. I hope you liked it. I'm just trying something new, like we're having some fun. And I want to share something really quick. Within this past week, I listened to a phenomenal podcast from a great podcaster. His name is Chris Van Vliet. I would say he is one of like the top wrestling podcasters in the world. Outstanding freaking interviewer. And the individual that he had on, a lot of people, they're not gonna be fans of the guy necessarily because he's extremely polarizing. But the episode, it was outstanding, and it got me thinking to myself, how is this guy not on creative somewhere? How is he not contributing to a big company? Is it because of his polarizing perspectives or what? I don't know. But last week I listened to the episode of the Chris Van Vliet show with Disco Inferno. And Disco Inferno was talking about his time in World Championship Wrestling. He was talking about how many modern fans don't like him because of his opinions on wrestling now. Disco essentially has the same view that I have and the same view John has. That you can show off and do like a million moves. But if it's not telling a story, then it doesn't matter. And it doesn't make money, and you're not doing your opponent any favors. And actually, you're doing your opponent a disservice through that, because essentially, like, you're wasting their time on something that they could potentially be making money on. And like with Disco, he was talking about his time being in like the New World Order, speaking about everything that he's been doing like within his life. He worked at like a strip club in Las Vegas. Believe it or not, he actually trained my favorite wrestler, which is Karrion Kross. And just in general, guys, it's hard for me to go in like the full detail, but I encourage you, just give it a chance, listen to it, and I promise you that you're going to learn something. And the fact is that the mindset of the locker room back in the day, like in a World Championship Wrestling, is vastly different than the mindset of the locker room now. Disco said back then, like, the mindset was, what can we do when it comes to our character and stories where we can get ratings and we can not only keep the core audience, but how can we grow it? And you know what? That made money. That made people money. And the thing is that like right now, guys, I just want to say this. Disco was a very underrated character. And the thing is that he took a shit gimmick and he got it over. He got it over like $1,000,000. And the fact is that you can't deny it. And there's a lot of people out there that want to talk crap. And one thing that which I agree like with Disco with too is that you have all these smart marks out there. You have all these fans out there that want to message Glenn Disco, and they want to act as if they know more than him. The fact is, I'm going to say this right now. I don't know more than him when it comes to wrestling. And I'm smart enough to say that, and I'm smart enough to know that. The fact is, and I'm saying this to all the fans out there, I appreciate your passion. But if you've never been in the ring, or you've never been on the other side of the guardrail, or you've never been backstage when it comes to running a show or being a performer in the ring, just shut the hell up and stop acting as if you're God's gift to professional wrestling. The fact is Disco has more knowledge in his pinky than you guys do throughout your whole damn body. Just because you read a dirt sheet from someone like Dave Meltzer or Brian Alvarez doesn't mean that you know more than the individuals that are backstage or that are in the ring. So the fact is that Disco reminded me that as fans, we have our role, we serve our purpose, and we don't need to overstep that. And the fact is once again, guys, to quote The Rock, know your role, shut your mouth, and sit down and enjoy the ride. Now, if you train and you get involved with the business and you become highly successful, good for you. Then you have a right to have an opinion. But until then, just stop. Just stop. That's like me going up to someone someone that's a pilot and saying to them, well, I read on Google that you have to do this, 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 and this. And that's what Google told me. And you know that pilot's going to do? Like, that pilot's going to look at me saying, have you ever gone to school for this? Well, no. Have you ever trained for this? Well, no. Then shut the hell up and go sit down. You clearly have no clue what you're talking about. In most cases, experience trumps everything. So that right there, with Disco, it made me realize that a lot of the fans, they're complete idiots when it comes to their perspectives, and they're overstepping with their opinions. But even Disco said that he doesn't block anybody because he finds it highly entertaining to see the depths of depravity and stupidity that fans will go to just to prove a point to him, when once again he's got more knowledge in his pinky than you guys will ever have in your life. Just be smart enough to recognize that you're not the smartest person. Just saying. I mean, but yeah, I encourage everybody out there, please check out which it came out 8 days ago. Go on the Chris Van Vliet YouTube page. Check out the Disco Inferno's his podcast with Chris. Outstanding episode. And the thing is that for me, I'll be honest with you guys. Like lately, I've been struggling. Just being able to just sit down and just pay attention long enough. Just listen to like a podcast. And Disco, he kept my attention for like the full 90 minutes. So like that should tell you something. And speaking of that, make sure, speaking of Disco, he does have a podcast with the Lucha Libre legend Conan. Check it out. It's called Keeping It 100. Um, uh, am I a loyal listener? I'll be honest with you, not really. I mainly check out clips, but it might be your cup of tea. And you know what? I encourage everybody out there, find your cup of tea, find your flavor. And the beautiful thing about wrestling is it's so diverse and it's so drawn out and so widespread that there's something for everybody. Not only whenever it comes to content, because man, like we're spoiled with the TNA app, with YouTube, like with Peacock, with like the Ring of Honor app, all that stuff. I mean, I can go on and on. We are so spoiled like with content, with the accessibility at our fingertips, that we can find something that we enjoy. Everybody can. And like the same goes like for podcasts. There's so much diversity and uniqueness whenever it comes to wrestling podcasts out there. So I encourage people, go find what you like. But yeah, like my recommendation for this week, for the podcast of the week, which I know he just came out, Van Vliet, he just came out with one like with Cena. But like my recommendation for the week is the episode that he just did with Disco Inferno. So guys, I just want to say thank you so much for your love. Thank you so much for your support. Let me know how you feel about this show. I want to continue to do this. The Retro Wrestling Revival, the Top 5 with Brother Martin. And you know what? I'm going to find a better time to do this, obviously, because it's kind of early. But you know what? Check this out. Comment. Let me know what you like. And if you got some stories that you want me to do on here, let me know. But like from the bottom of my heart, I just want to say thank you so much to everybody out there. When it comes to the radio show, when it comes to the success of the Facebook, I cannot say it enough. You guys have made this all possible. This is for fans, by fans. Our goal is to share our passion for professional wrestling and share it with the community and build stronger bonds. So guys, thank you so much and have a good day. Peace.